Right, so I've done this recording about 50 fucking times, so we're going to try again, and we're going to keep trying until eventually I get the recording that I need to mention of going to the mental health team yesterday to get it rammed down my throat that I have schizophrenia. That bastard in the sky called the Creator God, Jehovah, would just not fucking lay off of being a nasty, nasty fucking bastard. Right, so if I get my say, firstly we'll start with the smells in the building. No, there hasn't been much in the way of smells in the building, petrol smells. But if we go back to 2022 and 2023, I was reporting smell of petrol and I was struggling to breathe because of it. And they were putting it down to schizophrenia, and they were getting quite upset about it. And now we've got the unflushed toilet smell that's occurring frequently. And again, that's being put down to schizophrenia, and no one else can smell the problem. It's very rare that supported staff from the staff office at supported housing come up and check, but when they have, they said that they can't smell nothing. Anyway, they put that down to what's called olfactory hallucinations, which is a part of schizophrenia. I don't have schizophrenia, I have autism and Asperger's, and I was diagnosed professionally as my parents paid for a proper analysation of me back in 1993, which confirmed that I had this specific mental illness, but not schizophrenia. This issue with schizophrenia came in around about 2004-ish, when there was reports that I was beating my mum up, stepmother that is, and kicking my nan, which is not true. But they have to go by these reports regardless to what's true or what isn't. So that's that on that. Right, so over time I've reported many threats, anything from the Palace nightclub to threats at North Peverton to the occasional threats of today and being mistaken as Sven or Liam. They won't have any of this. They say that's caused by schizophrenia, and saying it's a load of nonsense, and saying that you shouldn't get a single threat in your whole life. They're saying that a single threat is very serious, and it has to be taken seriously, where we might have to put you in psychiatric care because of this problem of experiencing hallucinations of things that aren't there, as they word it. The other thing is these setups when I'm walking about. For years and years I've photographed setups and control force around me that's coming out in a buckled way, or a cruel manner, or an outright nasty, vicious, sexual way, and nailing me as a rapist or whatever, and telling me that I'm not going to have sex, or taking the piss out of me being sexually abused as a child. Well, all these setups that are occurring in that way has been going on for many years, and it still continues to this day, and it's not going to stop. No, it's not going to stop. But what the doctor told me is, if you don't photograph it, there'd be nothing there for you to look back on, and saying it's caused by schizophrenia, and that there aren't any setups. It's caused by paranoid hallucinations or something like that, is what he was saying. Anyway, I just had a chest infection, which has lasted for about 10 days, and I've been feeling rough because of it, and I've been in bed, and I've been trying to avoid coughing, but I've got no choice but to cough because it's uncontrollable. Well, the mental health team are putting this down to schizophrenia, saying this is a common sign of schizophrenia, of when this coughing occurs and all the rest of it. So I'm not very happy about that. The staff at supported housing are aware of what's been going on when they've been mentioning this as well, but the staff can support me with this because they know that I haven't been well, and they know genuinely that I have been ill with a chest infection and been feeling rough. So they said they can back me up on this if they need to. Right, so the next thing I want to mention is going back to my old place. I was getting gritty eyes from lasers or whatever was causing the eye problem at my old place. When I moved to Yeovil, this eye problem basically came to a stop. It was slow because obviously the symptoms that I was getting at my old place meant that the eye had to recover when I moved to my new place. So it took a bit of time, but it didn't take a grand amount of time, so maybe about just under 6 months. And then obviously the eye started to recover, and obviously it became normal again. When I was camping out at my old place, I wasn't getting this gritty eye or burning eye problem that I was experiencing. But this has all just started up again, unfortunately, in Yeovil, where I am now, in the last couple of days. Right, but the other thing I want to mention is the burning problem, which is the thing that they're moaning about in particular at this minute in time. Right, so the burning problem, again, they're putting it down to schizophrenia. It started on the 31st of January 2024, and then we went into a couple of days of February 2024 where the burning was that intense that I had to stay at my dad's for 5 weeks because of it. When I was at my dad's, the 5 weeks I was there, it didn't occur at all. And it didn't occur the 4 days I was visiting my mother several weeks ago this year. And that's the only time that I've had where I've actually felt refreshed, away from the burning problem, quite literally for a year. Because it's there persistently. It might not always be at its worst all the time, but it's definitely got worse since January the 1st at 1 a.m. in the morning. And there have been a couple of times where I had to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning to avoid this situation. So the symptoms I'm getting, which is 24/7, is a feeling like you've got a crushing sensation that's in your head. Your head's being crushed in by whatever's causing it. Very hard head pressure. You've got a cat claw scratch marks all across your body, from top to bottom. Around the top of your head is a feeling like when you graze your hand. So when you've fallen over and you graze your hand, you've got like that stinging sensation. That sensation, but right across the whole of the top of the head. It sort of gives you some burny sort of eyes as well. You get like a burning chest, a very sort of burny chest. It causes sensitive teeth. It causes, but mostly from the underneath of the teeth, rather than the tips of the teeth, in the root area of the teeth. It's also causing a dry mouth, a sore throat. It's causing you to feel like jelly, and sometimes when you're standing up, your feet have got like this funny feeling to them. It's hard to describe. It's like a wobbly type of feeling, but burny at the same time, but a very unusual type of feeling. And when you stand up, it feels like you can't stand up. It feels like you need to collapse on the floor because you feel like a weasel. So you feel like jelly. So I don't know what's causing that, but obviously when I presented EMF meter readings, or have filmed evidence of radiation detectors picking up specific frequencies, which I'm speculating could be causing this burning problem, they're putting it down to schizophrenia, and they said that they don't look at this and they don't take it seriously from these readings. They're saying that your schizophrenia is worsening. So they've been telling me that you need to take the highest possible dose of medication. The problem we have here is, when I was discussing this with somebody else, not a mental health person, but somebody different, and they were saying that when they give you categories of medication of what dosages to take, they've got to consider your weight, your build, and all the rest of it. They can't just give you the highest possible dose of medication if you're a small build person to someone that may be 3 times your build, who may require a full dosage, and saying it can be dangerous, and yes, it can kill you. But according to the Holly Court, the mental health team, they don't give a fuck anyway. They say you need to take the highest possible dosage, and they don't take it seriously. They just want me knocked off. They want me to get a taste of my own fucking medicine and tell me to shut your fucking face and just fucking drop dead. You're Mr. fucking Zippy. You don't have a fucking say. Just shut your face, and they treat you like a sick bastard, and that's it. That's the way it is. They came to my door this morning to have a go at me, saying that you need to take these medications or you need to be in hospital with hospital treatment. And I thought to myself, this is like fucking saying, you go to fucking jail, you fucking get a taste of your own medicine, we'll rip you to pieces and all the rest of it. And I'm not very happy about it. So because I'm moaning about the burning problem, which has worsened, yes, and I've been getting very ill from it, but there's nothing I can do about it. They're forcing you to sit there, and they're forcing you to put up with pain from the burning, and you don't have a say. You just have to sit there and suffer. You've got to suffer. You've got no choice, or you've got to take medication that they give you. When they give me high dosages of this medication in the past, before I moved from Burnham-on-Sea to Yeovil, I was on it for 3 weeks, on the highest possible dose. I was getting ill, I was getting organ problems, near enough organ failure, I nearly lost my life, and I collapsed right in front of 2 enemies that had given me threats, just as they passed. And as those 2 enemies passed, they laughed as I was on the floor, and then they got really nasty. They turned around, and they were going to attack me. Take into account I was on this medication for 3 weeks, the highest possible dose near enough, and even then, the setups were heavy. So I went into the shop for safety reasons when I managed to get off the floor. And when I mentioned it to the doctor said, well, it's not caused by the medication, it's probably because you had too much to drink last night, and yet my drinking has been the same as what it was, because back then I was drinking the same amount near enough all the time. It was very rare that I was going past my normal amount ever. Obviously, since I moved to Yeovil, there's been spirits that have been added, and there's been other drinks, but that's because my life's got worse. And also I've been smoking, but I haven't been smoking for the last 8 days or so, because obviously this issue of the chest infection, and obviously I'm not addicted, so I'm not going to start smoking again. There'll be times where I have a fag, yeah, or there'll be times that where I'll have a roll up, but it won't be all the time. It'll be like rare occasions. So yeah, so they're digging at me, wanting me in psychiatric care in hospital because of the burning problem, and they're saying that there shouldn't be no burning problem, and moaning because I had an argument with one of the neighbours because the burning problem was bad. So yes, I did have an argument with one of the neighbours, however I cannot confirm that it's him that's doing it. As it stands at the moment, I get on okay with this neighbour. I have quite a good friendship with this neighbour, but I don't actually know who's doing it or how it's being caused, but this burning, when it occurs, is a lot more nasty than what if they were sitting there in the situation I'm in with the burning, they wouldn't be very happy. They'd be reporting it to the police. But because they don't have to sit there and take it, they can just laugh in your face and say, oh, you can fucking burn, you're a sick cunt. And that's the end of that. So that's the way that they work. Anyway, to rub it in, because I was in a mood yesterday, I mentioned that I'm struggling to find a girlfriend and have not had sex in my whole life, and the fact that I've been sexually abused as a child. Their answer to that is, you have not been sexually abused as a child at all. They're saying it's caused by paranoid schizophrenia and paranoid thoughts that are causing you to think that you've been sexually abused as a child, and saying that we have no evidence to confirm that you've been sexually abused as a child, and we don't want to have to put it like this, but we don't believe you. So that's what they've told me. And when it comes to sexuality, of needing a partner and not having sex all my life, they shocked me with what they said. They've never even said this before, but they did say it yesterday. They say everyone's had sex, including yourself, and this is another argument that's been going on even at your old place and places before that we cannot verify that you've never had anyone. And then they bring up Stephanie, when I've never been with Stephanie. So they hinted that, but they didn't go in much of a detail, and then it just sort of went, Stephanie, So they sort of did that, and I thought, you're insulting me, because whoever's been twisting this information or writing this information out is lying, claiming that I've been with Stephanie. And replacing someone that looks like Stephanie for someone that's sexual looking for the mistakes that they made when I've never had anyone wouldn't be possible anyway at my age. So, unless you find someone who looks like Britney Spears in her early 20s at the age of 40 that's not a single parent and not too stale, literally impossible. So that's the best it gets. So the next thing I want to mention is when I mention that I've not had a girlfriend or never had sex or failed or whatever, they're saying that you're not going to get anyone. They're saying you're just going to have to face the fact that you're not going to get sex, and saying this is the problem around here, is you're not taking your medication, and saying if you take your medication you won't need sex because the medication will help you to avoid sex, and that sort of stuff. And the other thing that they're saying is this loud bike tying to an erection issue. They're saying that's caused by schizophrenia. When we go back to my old place, although the doctor was being harsh, saying that everything is caused by schizophrenia, when it came to the loud bikes being tied to erections, he had a different view on that, and he said that isn't caused by schizophrenia. He said that's just something you're going to have to put up with. He said put some headphones on or go for a walk when it's really bad or something like that. But now, since I moved to Yeovil, even that's being put down to schizophrenia. So everything and every subject that you mentioned is being put down to schizophrenia, and everything's being ignored. And they said that they don't, and they said this clearly yesterday. They said they don't believe that I've never had sex before or never had a partner. They say they just do not believe it. So I don't know what's been twisted or what people have been saying or what they got written down, but they think that I've been in a sexual relationship with Stephanie, which is not true. So we got all that, and then this morning they knocked my door to say that you're going to have to go into psychiatric care hospital, and starting a row by that. And then after that, later on, they said we're going to have to get an enforcement team to involved when they phoned me up later on when I said I'm not going into the psychiatric care or taking the medication by force control. When I moved to Thornhouse, I had a letter saying I don't have to be forced to take my medication by a lady called Lauren who was working there, who was just a little bit older than me, but was the actual manager at that time when I first moved there. So I did have the piece of paper, and it was signed for, and obviously the social worker and everybody said I'm right, I can deal with my own medication and I don't need to be harassed, and saying that it won't occur in the time period that you're going to be here before you move on. Because initially it was supposed to be just 2 years that I moved there, but obviously I've been there 4 years, because obviously the council moving you seems to be an impossibility, and there's just many other things that's stopping me moving, and I don't know what it is. So but they're violating everything that I signed, or well, not signed, but you know, they're violating all the things that they said of the past now. So even when I was at my old place, the doctor did not tell me that I'd been in a sexual relationship with Stephanie Jill. But this has all come to change now. They're all digging up the past, and it's all being slammed down me, and with slander and all the rest of it. But we've got even worse problems, because we've got animal voice sounds, which I've audio recorded in fact, although the recordings are not that great, because the Creator God's doing it in a way where he wants to disguise causing these voice sounds to tell me that I've been with Stephanie or had sex with Stephanie when she was in her teens and 20s. Well, the thing is, I haven't, and there's nothing that they can do to replace it, because everyone my age are just ugly bastards, a stale piece of shit. Nothing can be replaced. So what they do is they say, you're not going to get nothing, shut your fucking face, put this fucking medication down your throat, and that's the end of it. So I'll leave it there. Right, so I've left a church and a crow keeps saying that I've had sex with Amy Weston, and again, that's not replaceable, nowhere near replaceable. She's probably one of the sexiest types of people you can possibly get. So obviously God's cut my throat, God wants to take the piss out of me, God's ripping me to pieces, and God hasn't verified the facts. So that's how spiteful the bastard is.
For the pub, yeah. So what we want to offer as an alternative
Yeah. 'The, 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 'the,
take your medication and help to monitor it. And we don't want
when
to...
I moved here, I was told that didn't need to be the case.
Yes,
Nor
I
did the
think
hospital treatment.
probably you were dying, but I think these experiences for you have been ongoing.
Only since January the 1st at 1 a.m.
Okay, so the way that the AMP and your doctor and myself would like to think is we want to do the least restrictive thing possible for you, and it is that monitoring your medication with Thornhouse stuff is the least restrictive way.
No, I'm pretty okay with how I'm going on with it at the moment.
The other option, I think, is that they would consider admitting you into hospital.
No, I'm not very happy about that.
So the best way, possibly, is for us to help you with your medication.
I don't need help with medication, I'm pretty fine, I've been doing it for many years.
Can I explain what that looks like? So, you know other people that live here, we support them with their meds. And because you're only on one med a day, well, what that would be, members, staff coming up at that certain time of day, giving you access to your medication, and recording that you've taken your meds. That's all.
No, because when I moved there,
I remember the discussion we had in the office, because I was trying to explain what we could support you with.
I don't need that, because there's only two problems that I was mentioning to the doctor: burning and an increase of people sneezing in my face when I go out.
We've known each other for a long time now, haven't we? What, 3 years, nearly 4?
4 years, yeah.
So, you know, what I know, what you experience daily, is pretty consistent. And some days are worse than others, and the way you're feeling now, your physical health, things worse. Some neighbours affect you as well.
I just want to mention when Lauren was there, when I first moved there, I had a piece of paper that I signed or something like that, that you won't never, in the whole time that you're going to be living at Thorn House, you won't be dictated to have to be told to take medication.
So you have the right to look after your own medication. But sometimes why we're here now is because we want to help you and support you to live the best.
But the thing is it's not medication that I should be having rammed down my throat on high dosages and being told that I should be, or going into hospital. It should be, whatever's causing burning should be sorted out.
Yeah, and I think this is the difference in our opinion, Justin. We think that just to address a couple of things you said, nobody's talking about a high dose of medication.
No, but you shouldn't be going around trying to ram medication down people's throats, telling them shut their fucking face. If you burn, you burn, as long as you've got your medication down your face, get out of our way.
And I think what we're feeling is that the medication might help with that.
It doesn't do nothing, I told you that. But I was on the highest possible dose of medication when I had the eye problem at my old place. I collapsed in front of some people giving me threats, so I told the doctor that I'm refusing to take it because I nearly got smashed in because I was taking the highest dose of medication, and I said I've been on it for 3 weeks and it didn't do nothing at all to stop the eye problem at my old place.
Is there a middle ground that we can reach, whereby we can support you in your meds, but also help you more in and around your engaging outside the building, going out on your walks and stuff like that, so we can help you and be there if the medication is ever in place?
No, I said no to this, and I said no in the past, and I said no when I first moved here. I said
what I was thinking, with the support around medication.
Yeah, I don't need support with medication.
What I was going to suggest to you, we wouldn't pop the tablets for you. You would still be doing that, okay?
Yeah,
you would still hold your medication. And what we would do once a week, we have to do a meds audit. So we'd ask you, can we have just a quick count so we know, make sure you've got enough. And when it comes to night time, somebody would come up, you would get your meds, you would pop them in front of staff and take them, and we just then write our initials on our mark, wish you good night, and then we go. So you're still in control.
I'd just keep the way it is because there's been no problem before, and I prefer to sort of take in my own time in my own space and whenever.
But that is not the options that we can offer. Like I said,
I tell you what, I'll just sit there and I'll burn, and if I end up in hospital, then I'll go to hospital, okay?
all right, okay.
I'll burn.
So we shall-
I'll burn. Okay?